Presence here today and for the good, beautiful reception that we have been given by the mayor. This presence here today and for the good, beautiful reception that we have been given by the mayor, this city, and you who are attending this affair today. We salute the servants of God from Adam till today. We give the last prophet Muhammad the salutation of the salute, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the prayers and the peace be upon him. Ameen. I want to begin this address by saying all people are equal in origin, in their original nature, according to revelation given to prophets before Muhammad, and the same was given to Muhammad, the prophet of Arabia, about 14 centuries and so ago. All people come from one origin, one and the same origin. And we are deceived by the enemy of mankind, that is Satan. In our religion, Satan is called the enemy of mankind. Aduwan Nas, the enemy of all people. Satan. Shaitan, in the Quranic Arabic language, Shaitan. The Bible talks about inheritance. The Quran talks about inheritance. And if we understand it, our political idea for this great country, the United States of America, is also established upon a belief in inherent rights or inheritance. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, among them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And it goes on to say that no government can take these rights away. They're rights that we are born with. So these are rights that the government didn't give us. These are rights that our Creator gave us. And by the way, as the Constitution didn't say Jesus Christ, it didn't say Allah. The first words, in fact, the first 5 lines or first 5 sentences, called the ayat, to Muhammad the Prophet, came to him, and the word Allah is not in any of those 5 sentences. So Muhammad, the first communication he got from God, he didn't learn the name Allah, not from the communication anyway. God says to Muhammad, read. First word to Muhammad, read. First words of the Quran to Muhammad. Read, he said, in the name of your Lord who created. The one who created human being from a congealed blood. 2 lines, not Allah yet. Then he said again, read, and your Lord is most generous. And the one who taught man how to record, use the pen, the writing pen. He taught the human being what the human being was not before knowing, what he never knew before. These are the 5 lines. First 5 lines communicated to Muhammad the Prophet from God. Why am I saying this, that Allah, the name Allah, was not mentioned in the first communication to Muhammad? Why am I saying this? The connection for our life is with creation. So the first name that was given to Muhammad of God is God the Creator. Since we call God by different names, I'm sure the wise writers and founding fathers of this great political idea that we have in America, I'm sure that they chose not to say Jesus Christ or not to say God. They didn't even say God. Because there'll be many people coming to this democracy, living here. They foresaw that. In fact, that was the invitation from the very beginning. It began with people who were persecuted abroad, overseas, and they came here for a place to live their life of their choice, the life of their choice. So this was a country that was going to be a country of many. And the founding fathers, seeing ahead of time, seeing into the future, used no language that would disrespect any of us or that would exclude any of us. Creator, all of us can accept that equally, because we are equally the creation of God. Adam, in religion, both Quran, the Bible and the Quran, our holy book, the Quran, and in the holy book of the Christians, the Bible. In both these books, we have Adam as the name of the first human to exist on this earth. And we are told that this Adam was created by God. And he was made from the earth, from the ground. In fact, it says from the dust of the ground. From the dust of the ground, the dust of the earth, he was made. And it goes on to tell us how he became the father of all people, of all people. So we identify in our mortal body and in our original human spirit, we identify with Adam, the first father. Adam, the first father. Now, just reading the story, to me, it sounds like myth. Not like reality. It sounds like myth. Because how do you make a man from dust and make dust adhere together, make it hold together with water? Says, and rain came, and then he formed the man, and make it hold together with water, mud, and breathe into that mud, and it become a living soul. To me, that's more like myth than reality. And anybody believe that literally, you're not ready to help Detroit or the neighborhood I'm living in, or any other place. Okay, you have a problem, and really these stories are for children, and the men know how to translate those stories. If you're a man, you're supposed to know how to translate the story. I don't mean man in the world, I mean man in knowledge. I'm not talking about a man in the world, because we know many men in the world, they can't read at all. No. But if you're a man in knowledge, you're supposed to know how to translate that and see it in reality. No, in its first picture that it presents is nothing but myth. It has to be understood. I once said on a radio program, and I was then rejected by my father. I was not inside of his organization called the Nation of Islam at that time. And I was trying to get back in. In fact, he had permitted me to come to him, his house, and I could attend, but he was not permitting me to lecture, to give speeches. So they thought they would get me put me out again, the officers of the Nation of Islam. When they got the tape, they thought they had something to get me put out, so I would never come and speak again. So they gave it to my father. I didn't know he had it. So at the Sunday dinner, he invited me to come to the Sunday dinner, and I was sitting at the table there. He said, "Son, we want to play a tape." I didn't know what it was, but I've never been afraid of anything I do or say. I've never been afraid of anything I did or said, because I'm always trying to say the right thing. And when you know you're trying to do right, you're not afraid. So anyway, they played the tape. And then at one place in the tape, my father, he was sickly too. He stood up and applauded. And he said, "My son's got it." Now this is before you all knew that I was going to be a leader soon, because he was sick at that time. Wasn't 2 years before I was your leader. Anyway, he said, "My son's got it." And he looked at my mother. My mother was sitting there. Now this is about, my mother said, can't recall it, maybe 72, maybe 1972, around there, somewhere around there, right about around there. And he looked at my mother. He said, "Isn't that right, Clara?" And my mother, that bright smile, she's very dark-skinned, and the teeth, when she smiled, her face looked like the sun. And she was smiling with that bright smile, and she said, "Yes." So this is what we've been waiting for.
Yes, salam alaikum. We're back. The Imam said, that's what they've been waiting for. Yes, we're still here. Come again.
Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak. For this second Juz reflection, we want to really highlight the beginning. Where Allah says, سَيَقُولُ السُّفَهَاءُ مِنَ النَّاسِ مَا وَلَّاهُمْ عَنْ قِبْلَتِهِمُ الَّتِي كَانُوا عَلَيْهَا. The fools among the people say, what has turned them away from the qibla that they once had? And Allah, it commands them to say, or he actually says, for Allah is the east and the west, and he guides, يَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءِ إِلَى الصِّرَاطِ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. He guides whomever he wills to the straight path. Now remember, we referenced in the previous video how Surah Al-Fatiha ends with guide us on the straight path. So throughout the Quran, everything that we have in the Quran, everything that we have in the Sunnah of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is a fulfillment of this request to guide us on the straight path. And as the first Juz concluded, this is still Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah refers to Ibrahim alayhi salam and his son building this house. Now this narration of him and his son building the house and making the dua for one to come, a community from their descendants to be Muslim, and one to come to purify and teach the book and the wisdom, etc. This comes in the sort of trail of Allah discussing how the children of Israel consistently, time and time again, violated the covenant. What does that have to do with the house? The house in and of itself symbolizes the substance of God's covenant with Abraham that the children of Israel were supposed to grab a hold of. It symbolizes the oneness of God, the oneness of man, and the oneness of man's purpose under the authority of God on this earth. And the ideal society, what they call the promised land, what in the New Testament is called the kingdom, the ideal human society must be founded upon this. The recognition that Allah is one, there is no partners with him, there's no authority for man other than him, and that all human beings are one brotherhood. That's why as Muslims we're commanded at least once in our lifetime, if we are able, to travel to that house. And when we come to that house, we don't come as a black or as a white or as a red or anything like that. We come as sons of Adam, as members of the human family, and we come as servants of Allah. So this house then represents really the central the most important ideals in Islam. And the Prophet, Allah lets us know at the beginning of the second juz, he says that the Prophet, he saw the Prophet turning his head to the sky, his face to the sky, because he was disappointed with, or he wasn't pleased with the Qibla that he had. And that was the Qibla in Jerusalem, where the ruins of the temple of Prophet Suleiman or Solomon, upon him be peace, lie. The Prophet himself is a man of excellence, Suleiman. We have in Islam, we believe in and we accept all of the prophets. At the same time, the ruins of that temple in that particular space really represents the dominance of the Jewish people, the dominance of the children of Israel, who, according to the Bible, as is given in the biblical language, God is the God of Israel. The Lord is the Lord of Israel. And they as a people, they're really charged with, in the Quran, they're charged with setting themselves up as an exclusive group. And they are really charged with wanting a future for the world where they themselves are the center. They themselves are the most important. And the Prophet, he was aware of that. He didn't like that. He wanted the future that was in line with Ibrahim's teaching, where God was the center and mankind as human brothers were the center. So really, there is a new covenant. This change in the Qibla, it's not just, you can actually go to the Mosque of Qiblatain in Saudi Arabia today. I've been there, and it's a beautiful place. Very simple, but beautiful in spirit and in significance. And this physical occurrence, it actually occurred. There was a physical turning, but it also signifies a change in the direction for those who claim Ibrahim. The Jews claim Ibrahim. The Christians claim Ibrahim. But now this new Muslim ummah, we will be, under the leadership of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we will be the true inheritors of Ibrahim. So we have a new orientation, a new direction given in that Qibla or that Kaaba built by Ibrahim and his son. And if you notice after that, for the rest of the Jews, primarily, what is the discussion about? What are the rules? What are the laws? What are the practices of Islam? So the laws around fasting, like in this month, the laws of Qisas, the laws of Hajj, the laws of marriage, so on, divorce, so on and so forth. Much of this is discussed after the change of the Qibla to say, after this new community is formed, the covenant is renewed with this new people. Now Allah is giving us the new rulings, the new laws, structuring us as a new people in fulfillment of the covenant of Abraham, which ultimately means what? We are the ones, the ummah of Islam, we are the ones to bring in the true kingdom of God on this earth. Peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, salam alaikum rahmatullah. So, my theme is really this, to remove, on this particular episode, myths. I started with my Imam, part one of him making it understood that our Father, the universal Father, for all the population within creation, within this earth, came from Adam and Hawa. And Adam was, and his wife, Hawa, was very, our Sheikh says, very industrious. He was very creative because he was taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he named everything that we have, that we give names to today. Could you imagine? Our Father, he was chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and said to name that which is. So we wouldn't have known a tree unless Adam named it. We wouldn't have said sea unless Adam named it. You see? So on reflection, this is what we're also doing. On reflection, it is to remove some of these myths that separates and isolate peoples. And that same myth is being spread by those who are mythologists. And we have the problem in Palestine today because it's based on a myth. And it's a serious myth. And for someone like me, it's very strange that some of the key practitioners of that myth have not said anything. They haven't come out ramping and raving. They haven't said anything, especially about the calf and and building and claiming lands to build because they want to redeem and resurrect some prophets from of old and bring back somebody from old. And this has been going on for decades. But 75 years, the people of Palestine, Al-Quds, Jerusalem, have endured the harshness of that myth. And the world leaders, they're aware of this, very much aware, because they're part of it. It's just unfortunate, and that's a good choice of words, it's unfortunate that we have to experience such atrocities. And now we're being deflected, purposely deflected from what is actually taking place and what is wanting to be taking place. The US is saying that they're going to erect a temporary dock so that the cargo, the supplies that is coming in, that's being sent in from the good peoples of this earth, they will be able to be offloaded there, unloaded there. But that's what these other people want. They want to turn that whole area into a port. Industry, commerce. And it's known. But the US, in light of all that's happening, and all the trucks and all the food that's been on land for so long, here comes their suggestion. Now, please, there hasn't been a problem offloading the food, water, medication, and so forth at all. The problem has been not being allowed to deliver those produce to the people, to Gaza. Now, they didn't say to their friends, listen, you're starving the people. This is wrong. You need to stop this. Let the medication, let the food, let these stuff in. But you see, that man says they were not supposed to have anything because he turned the water off, turned the electricity off, all these things. You understand? I refuse to call his name. Whatever his name, how it's pronounced, I'm not good at it, but I won't try. So we need to stay focused and don't let these little trinklets appear to be someone having a wean heart. No, they're still using their brain. Their hearts is being hardened from the offset. They're not using heart. This is the brain. Because rules are still being looked at on how to prevent people from demonstrating, protesting. And then you find on radio stations, nation radio stations, people speaking about people who are demonstrating as if they're criminals. And they want to change, they want to establish rules, laws. And they have started to make an example of some of the people to deter others and to deter them themselves. The world is a changing, and we mustn't let it go back. We mustn't. And we mustn't let governments tell us or remind us about back to basics and all that stuff. There's so many actors and actresses involved in the deception. There's so many. If sympathy and apathy was with these politicians and these leading bodies in the United Nations, see that's hard to pronounce again also. I mean, there's nothing united about it. You know, it's supposed to stand for that, but there's nothing united about it. They're not fulfilling their obligation. One would have feel that it's Ramadan and they would have taken their guards down and say, hey, listen, you have to cease fire. The people are already starving. But even before Ramadan, anyone can look and see the condition and the intent, what is being done intentionally to flatten the infrastructure on that land, on those lands. The word Hamas is just used as apply to conduct the evil victimization. That's what it is. You keep use that, sooner or later people are going to ask themselves, who's this Mujahideen? Who's this? That's what happened with Afghanistan. Most people didn't know where Afghanistan was, especially Americans. They didn't have a clue. The ones who were doing little deals over there and over there, they know because they were getting their opium, back in the 50s, 60s. But the general population, Afghanistan, wait, what? What is that? Just like they didn't have a clue, most of them, about Vietnam. But yet still, they beat them up. You just heard our brother, our teacher, talked about Bani Israel. That was Bani Israel back then. These people who are in that area called Palestine, they're not Bani Israel. They don't know anything about Bani Israel. They have adopted something that is other than Bani Israel. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never named a people Jew. Jews, no. He never told Moses, that the people in Egypt will be called Jews. No. They were followers of Jacob, that you all call in the Bible world Jacob. Jacob is Israel. His children and him is Bani Israel. Facts, reality, no myths. All the books outline that very clearly. But there are those who want, other than projecting the truth and the clarity of the truth, that have done other than. And I'm ashamed of our brothers and sisters who live in that proximity of the world, knowing that their ancestors are Bani Israel, knowing what and who Bani Israel are, and knowing their affiliation to Al-Islam and the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. No one is begging on looking for audience. These are facts. We're not looking for YouTube numbers. These are facts. What we tend to wonder, and it's a problem for us, why haven't they ever stood, even written, and make it be so clear, absolutely clear? If you want to adopt and follow Musa, no problem. Act and behave and learn. But if that be the case, you would have to acknowledge Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's it. You will have to. And likewise, the people of the book. So, where's your Zabur? Where's your Injil? But most importantly, where's your character? Where's your Iman? Where's your Insan? Where's your Taqwa? That's why it's so much I'm saying the world is a changing. We're hearing and we've heard. We know, we hear, we know. But from their mouth, we've heard them utter it, that we are Zionists. You know why that is mentioned now? Because they're so proud with arrogance. And that's not something good, because what you pretended to be and want and made the world accept you as, now you've shot them in the face and say, listen, we're Zionists. And even those who follow them because of friendship, relationship, marriage, and such forth, have adopted Zionism. Now, all the screens and words that have been used to protect themselves before, they've taken the veil down with this tragedy in Palestine right now, since October 7th. Something has happened between Shaitan and the Zionists, because it's not Satan and God. They feel so confident to take the veil off and say, yo, this is who I am, this is who we are. And the Orthodox here in England, across Europe, that has been saying this for years and years and years and years. Because, to me, because they're Caucasian, no laws, no malice treatment came their way in this country and across Europe. They've just been looked at as some sad people. But they've been saying it. And these are the people who try to abide, I shouldn't say try, who abides by the rules and the laws and the covenant that they have received or they heard about or they have in their possessions. The Torah, not the Talmud, the Torah. So these are people who will willfully tell you that we've embraced. They're not saying that they're the people of Yaqub. They're not saying that they're Bani Israel. But when you go to that precinct and the Arabian Peninsula and Ethiopia, you will hear and witness Bani Israel, not of appearance, but their human quality and what they practice and how they practice. Practice in worship. Unless one is blind, you will miss it. But you won't miss nothing, only the fact that visually you cannot see them. Their hospitality, their kindness, their tenderness holds you. Because it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala they are practicing to serve. So they don't live a life trying to own the earth and vilify other people. and you go to one of those countries and see how they act, oh, you Muslims. Who knows? Everyone in the Middle East, the Far East, whatever East you want to call it, they know this, they recognize this, and speak nothing. I don't understand why you... Once you hide things, you create problems. Why is the truth being hidden? Know ye the truth, and will set you free. And the only truth there is to know is the truth from our Creator. Not the truth, am I speaking now? Did I say the right things? Did I assume, right? And so forth. No, that's man's truth. Even that we get wrong. Because we break it. I know I'm standing in court and they say, what faith were you? And blah, blah. Right? If I say I'm agnostic, then there's something else to say, If I say I'm a Christian, there's something to say. If it says a Muslim. But the point I'm trying to get at, hash out here, is that they bring the Bible and they tell you to put your hands on top and swear that whatever I say and deem and everything be the truth, the whole truth, so help me God. And within the first question, I'm already lying. That's a good lawyer, he just goes straight to the jugular. You understand? Did you do such and such? No. Or shake your head. And the judge says, can you answer, please? And then that happens again, and they call the lawyers to the bar. You know what I mean? Because they want to know, did you not explain what happens here? You know what I mean? And then they called me by name, full name. It's not my name, though, you know what I mean? It's the slave master's name, but they still called me by that name that I acknowledge, and let me to be understand that this be the last time, right, that I'll be warned, and so forth. So then everything returns to, and I tell the lie, because I said I didn't do such and such. But I just swear that the testimony I'll be giving will be the truth, the whole truth, to help me God. You understand? Now, I swear, I'm saying I'm going to speak the truth. The whole truth, not part truth, not a little bit of truth, not a teeny. You understand? Not a massage truth, right? The person who wrote that, you understand? They extracted that from the book because it's there. It's not something that William Shakespeare and somebody concocted and King James and all. No, and some wise guy, that says, I'm going to represent my country, right, and do that. No, it's there. It's part of the law and the testimony that God gave into Moses, allegedly. You know what I mean? So that's it. And then it says, so help me God. You understand? That God, I'm swearing, yeah? And my faith is based, what I'm going to say, that I'm speaking the truth, God is going to back me because I'm not going to break and say a lie because it's God that I'm working with at this point. See? So there's no validity in all that. And unfortunately, Muslims go there to, swear by the Quran, by Allah and everything else. And they don't have no reason they shouldn't be there. And then later on they want to tell you it's a Kafir's court. And then you think like, hold on a minute. The evil that you did, was that Kafir's evil or was that you? And that's how I get out of that. You know what I mean? Is that you? Right? You committed some evil and you had to go to court. So why is you at the court? The best you could have done is speak the truth and make tawbah. But you refuse. And you want to say, right, so you lied on Allah. How you feel? What see, so because there's so many things that we do not address. And everything that's happening here is being outlined to us, and we've encouraged it because this should have been exposed long time. Long time. It's not something that. And why these people who are in charge of certain things, if they're not credible, why are they in these positions? And then we want to say that we're like sheep to be slaughtered, lambs to be slaughtered. No. The shepherd is wanting. The shepherd is not fulfilling this obligation. The shepherd is too busy in the dunya. The shepherd has too much activity in the dunya. The shepherd do not put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first. The shepherd put money and relationships with other than Muslims first. The shepherd cares not to propagate correctly 1000% La ilaha illallah, but they will speak about Islam. Now listen carefully, because so much of us qualify, well, we don't qualify. We justify ourselves being Muslims and not realizing, perhaps we do, I don't know. I shouldn't generalize at this point, but you see that, but that's a conjunction my mom always tell me. We're not sincere. We know how to remove, not say certain things that would deem us to be not fraudulent, but deem us to be mu'min. And I think we've practiced that because we want company with non-Muslims more than. And we feel that once we trim ourselves down to a level, we will appreciate it. Then as it grows, it festers. It festers. So there's just this appearance of some Middle Eastern dress wear, some guys not living in the desert, they put on these turbans and, it's a fashion show. That's how I see it, Astaghfirullah. Oh, yeah. Because if you know some of the people, and then all of a sudden something happens, and then there's this immaculate transformation, you think like, wow. You understand? Because if I make a song, and I start featuring the song here, there, and everywhere, unlike Abdul, and I really want to get in the capitalistic world, then I would change the appearance. Whatever I look like now, I would look like them. To fit in, slot myself in. Not buy myself in, just slot myself in and market myself right there with them. So there's no way I'm going to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala requires me. And I will not be thinking that in any lecture or conversation that we have, I wouldn't swear by Allah. I would remove swearing. I wouldn't testify that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have done, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has informed us. I wouldn't do that. I would isolate those areas and project what I deem that will be appreciated by other than Muslims. That's what's hurting us today. That's why what is happening in Palestine is happening. That's why it's happening. Look where Egypt is and look where Jordan is. They don't have no problem sending 30,000, 60,000 men right there saying, listen, this has to stop. They don't even have to have military arms. They just have to have La ilaha illallah in their hearts. But yet still, we see them, or I see them, as Muslimin. And they're not. They're not. Let's go back to China, the kamikaze. Listen, they didn't think twice, man. They just know that once they fly across to the U.S., their planes ain't coming back nowhere. They ain't got enough fuel. So they say, okay, here what we're going to do. We're going to drop our load, and then we're going to become a load ourselves. Voluntarily. Read that part of history, man. Read that part. And they knew exactly what was happening. And they took that oath and that decision. But, you know, the world, America, and all its allies, they shut that thing down, you know, like hush hush. So then they dash it on Muslims like, you know, we're suicide fanatics and so forth. Now, if that was really us, why aren't we there? Hollywood was doing what Hollywood does the best. If ISIS or whoever the hell this nonsense it was or is, where are they? All of these people that are groups that was used to try to put muck on Muslims and on Islam, where are they? They weren't real. But Jordan, King Hassan, of the bloodline, it is said, of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his family is there. His people is there. They moved them out of Mecca. Split them up, you know. The influence was too great and put them over there. Yeah, they put him over there and build up this place, and they call it Jordan. Now, they're next door. And then you have Egypt. So you have one on the left, one on the right, or they're both in the same, I don't know. So, but where are they? So you got Yemen, that Mecca, the people of Mecca, of the kingdom, that should be called Mecca, but the kingdom of Arabia have waged a war and have killed and destroyed Yemen, backed by the same countries who continue to abstain and veto the votes. Could you imagine? So don't matter where our brothers and sisters turn, they're getting hit by a natural enemy and getting hit by two other foes that one would have feel that hasn't got a bone in this, but they have. And you listen and watch, the Palestinian people do not have no brothers and sisters outside of their region. I mean, you know, you're talking about some person in Qatar, talking to some person in Abu Dhabi, and all these people. And all these people are about is their cash flow. And they're meant to be wheeling and dealing with those who abstain and those who veto. What are these people benefiting? Cash, cash, cash. Nothing's happened about life. People, stop it. You're all sleeping, falling into the trance, man. All these garments and nonsense. All of this is going to come to an end, sad end. So then what are we going to say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I was observing and I wasn't too clear which side to be on. Which side? There's no side. Let's be clear. There's no side. It's just La ilaha illallah. There's no side. So it's not I'm with the Palestinian and not with the Yahudi or whatever the hell they call and so forth. There's no side. But if there is people wanting a side, know ye the truth. Be on the side of truth. And if you know that you read and understand even one ayah, one surah of the Quran, know ye that that's the truth. And that's coming from Allah. So then why would you then want to seek something else when the only truth that you know and the only truth that resonates to your soul, the only truth that resonates to your heart, the only truth that will govern now your brain is Allah. So how can you try to be funny and trickify people? This is what we've got. A lot of tricksters. A lot of people that intentionally and some of them unintentionally are doing it. And then you got the other ones that want to tell you now that they've got this divine prophecy or something, just like Christians. And this and this and this and that is going to happen. But you need to do, we need to do this and this. And say, hey, hold up a minute, brother. You're too late. I said, what you mean? I said, it's too late, man. What are you trying to talk about? What was that prayer told to you that only when the tragedy occur is to bring that prayer out like it's a bullock? No, stop it, man. That's supposed to be happening over and over again because we've been there. The Battle of Uhud, we've been there. We've tasted that. The experience was given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to us. And now you want to tell me that you got some secret knowledge about a prayer. And once it's orchestrated and people are reminded, how could they be reminded when they don't know? You know. And people like you know. And now you want to bring it to the general population of Muslimin. Yo, something wrong with that too. Something wrong with that. It's not contesting the prayer. It's contesting the fact that now this one wants to be talking about it. And this is what's happened with Muslim scholars and all these people that dabbles in things. They just always come out with something and get proper bullocks for the month or for the years and everything else. And they become the talk of the town and pollute our children's brain. And the generations that's come and follow after is already been polluted by such people. This thing has been orchestrated. That's what it is. It's an orchestration. I'm good at music. I know how to do that. All of us who's been in music, we know how to do that. We know how to change the trend. We know how to put the flavor there. And it's not with one studio. We can have 12 studios running, but it's a particular format that we're working on. Our cultural songs remain the same. We're not going to change that. Our musicians is what we need to be encouraging. We won't change that. But we'll say, listen, you see the Hayaks them? Bring them forward. And let's go back down the road and drop a minter riff. Because it's ours. In at the sound them. And the other 11 studio them producers and everybody decide, yeah, because that's for we culture, for we country. And we do that. Similarly, these people are doing the same thing, but they're taking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's chains of commands and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sunnah and massaging people's egos. and creating platform of ego massages. And who is being mesmerized with this? The teenagers. Not teeny weeny bubblies, 40, 50, 60-year-old people. They're there. And why is this happening? Because the institutions do not teach upright. They give you a little bit of this and gone. A little bit of this and gone. And then slap you behind the neck and gone. Why they do that? Because they're just giving you a little taste. A little taste. They don't operate like bees. Wait, does a queen bee just make a little bit there and go on another tree and another bush? No, they stay there and fulfill that season. Don't we understand? Don't you get it? When a spider makes his web, you think the spider gone somewhere? Yeah, the spider has gone somewhere. It's gone where the alarm of the web will wake him up or trigger him off. He's around. He's around, nesting, resting. And soon as he feels that vibration, that's the alarm. He's in attention. He or she's in attention. How come we're not being in attention? The Muslims, the Muslims. Why are we beating up one another? Why is it so easy to beat up Yemen? And it's not easy to defend Palestine. Oh, come on, man, please, really. And then you go to the extreme, figuring out ways and means with the British and the Americans on how to destroy Sudan. What is this about, Muslims? You're sleeping. This is a country, and Yemen is a country that adheres to the Sunnah, adheres to the rightly teaching of the Prophet ﷺ. They would not let people come and twinkle, dingle, and mingle. They wouldn't do it. They're hard. They're hardcore. They're not selling for Sufi. Hey, yo, seriously. They ain't got all these carbon-coated this and that. So if you break them, there's nothing else left. And Sudan eats, drinks, sleeps the Quran. So similarly, the Yemenis. And the place where Britain has been trying to soil, and a lot of our good scholars come out of Mauritania. They keep going on about, yes, slavery still exists in Mauritania, yes, and so forth, right? Because they just want to vilify it and prohibit people from going there and trim it down, desecrate everywhere. And close the Islamic identity. So, good people have mixed with Muslims, young people, and others, demonstrating against evil. Not just the action that's taking place, It's the wrong deeds that's also being manifested in all of our faces. Whether we're Muslim, Christians, Jew, Gentile, agnostic, no matter what we are, we're seeing evil versus righteousness. We're seeing badness versus goodness. And we're hearing a lot of untruths. This week, there are some people sitting in the United Nations speaking about rape. And they've done a very good job, because they're speaking about it, a male and a female. And they created so much graphics. And I'm saying, yo, if you're bringing the light to the world about the plight that the Palestinian people yourselves are enduring, why would you turn around? You're doing your deed. There's children, there's adults, male and female, and then you decide that to soil these people, you would develop a sexual urge to violate these females. And we're speaking here of people who are representing themselves and others for maltreatment. And you want to be telling me or telling the world that somehow what came across these people's mind was, now we've got them, let's violate their women. Are you crazy? And we're speaking here of Muslims. Muslims, you know, it's not done. It's not done. It's not done. So wherever you created that Hollywood theatric from, take it back there. Take it back there. But why is it doing that? Go back to your prisons and let the world know what it is that you do with our Palestinian brothers and sisters in there. Yes. I mean, it didn't take very long, you know what I mean, for some people just to, their evil and wicked ways show up in Iraq. You remember that? It didn't take very long. What? Less than a month? And they felt that they had the power, so they filmed it. And some people put it out on multimedia themselves, some of them. Yeah, you know. So try something else. Seriously. And whoever participated in any such filth, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deal with them severely. I wouldn't have to say severely. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deal with them. Because two wrongs, or any wrong, don't make a right. No matter how bad things are. You know, I'll fight you, yeah. But am I going to try to degrade myself and go beyond my humanity and my dignity? No, as a human being, no. Something else will be happening. And on top of that, I'm saying, La ilaha illallah. Wow, it's a problem. Just like the person who says that they're following the teaching and the guidance of Christ, which is a problem for them. So it's better that they say they follow the laws and the commands of Moses, Musa alayhi salam. Then you know that, you know, there's so much there to think about. Right? So you can't trip up. But when they put something else in the way of Moses, of Musa alayhi salam, and the law and the covenant, the decree that you take with God Almighty, and then the laws that is there, then you know that, you know, you can't just go around beating up people and doing all the wicked things that you're doing. It's not done. If you're hearing or you're practicing, or, you know, you took that declaration of fellowship through Moses with God. But when you come with this Jesus thing and so forth, then you can see why, because there's no covenant and there's no commandment, and there's no oath in any of the scriptures that is being given there. So you see why I'm also saying someone needs to make us understand who this Jesus is. Because it's not Isa, it's not Yeshua. And Christ is being spoken about. There's no Christ teaching, and there's no evidencefication of Christ projecting Musa. It's a strange thing. But who's talking? The Quran is talking. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put that there for us. We're only saying what Allah says. Whether you like the way I say it or not, that's the way Allah says. You understand? So we hope and pray that anything that we've said and done, if wrong, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me. If I hurt anyone's feeling, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept my apology for you, those of you. And if there's anyone who objected your thoughts, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. You understand? But me not look friend. I don't look friend. I'm not looking friend. I don't want no enemies, but I'm not looking friend. You understand? All right, I'm comfortable. So without further ado, I want to say Salaam Alaikum. We're still fasting. God, by the grace of God, you know, I hope I'm not starving myself. I hope I'm not just restraining myself from substances and make it feel to myself in my mind that I'm part of Ramadan. Ramadan is very serious, you know, it's very, very serious. And it appeared to me that I'm coming down with some form of ailment. I don't know what it is, seriously. I went out, and on my way back, something started happening, you know, and I'm feeling it right now again. You know, like sometimes I play basketball and then you leave the place, man, too quick. And that cold breeze just lick you, you know. Next thing you know, your neck start doing something, you know. Then bang, you don't even get home. And your nostrils just start clogging up. And you never had a cold. You know, these symptoms. Yeah, these symptoms. So, the new covenant, I want to play back 1.5 minutes.
Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak. For this second Juz reflection, we want to really highlight the beginning. Where Allah says, سَيَقُولُ السُّفَهَاءُ مِنَ النَّاسِ مَا وَلَّاهُمْ عَنْ قِبْلَتِهِمُ الَّتِي كَانُوا عَلَيْهَا. The fools among the people say, what has turned them away from the qibla that they once had? And Allah, it commands them to say, or He actually says, for Allah is the east and the west, and He guides. يَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ إِلَى الصِّرَاطِ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. He guides whomever He wills to the straight path. Now remember, we referenced in the previous video how Surah Al-Fatiha ends with guide us on the straight path. So throughout the Quran, everything that we have in the Quran, everything that we have in the Sunnah of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is a fulfillment of this request to guide us on the straight path. And as the first Juz concluded, this is still Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah refers to Ibrahim alayhi salam and his son building this house. Now this narration of him and his son building the house and making the dua for one to come, a community from their descendants to be Muslim, and one to come to purify and teach the book and the wisdom, etc. This comes in the sort of trail of Allah discussing how the children of Israel consistently, time and time again, violated the covenant. What does that have to do with the house? The house in and of itself symbolizes the substance of God's covenant with Abraham that the children of Israel were supposed to grab a hold of. It symbolizes the oneness of God, the oneness of man, and the oneness of man's purpose under the authority of God on this earth. And the ideal society, what they call the promised land, what in the New Testament is called the kingdom, the ideal human society must be founded upon this.
Okay. So I hope you got that message. Seriously, so clear. You understand? But because it's, again, I'm saying this, it's not something that's been repeated over and over again or been highlighted or one can actually read, you understand, right, about this, then, it's taken for granted. That's what happens with people. You understand? It's been taken for granted. It's been left aside, So, Abdullah, come here.
Palestine's been occupied for decades, but a home for centuries. This land is generations of my family's memories. To plant, grow, and nurture the symbol of peace. The olive trees guaranteed that our people could eat. Living with limitations, pushed down by the occupation. Wanna see the pain? Take a look at the people's faces. Imagine being kicked out of the only house you ever known. We're praying for our souls while they're preying on our homes. It's not easy to put this into words. Looking at my baby sister, is this something she deserves? Growing up in a world where she's not treated the same, denied the right to live free because of where she came. They wanna occupy this land, won't let them occupy my mind. I stay occupied aside as I write about my life, because my only mission is to make people listen. This one's for Sheikh Jarrah, hoping it can make a difference. Cause the same thing happened in 48. My grandparents got evicted and forced to move away to the refugee camp in Gaza. No, nothing has changed. They can never return, so that's where I am today. Getting calls from cousins to see if I am alive. This year is not fireworks that are lighting the sky. We're trying to celebrate an Eid and keep the faith.
If you listen carefully, there is nothing missing, and this is not done just yesterday for what is actually happening here. Because this thing has been happening every other year. He's experienced 4 wars in his little life. 4 in his short life. You understand? But he's been influenced by us, the Habashi, the African Americans. Yes. And this is great influence, because not all of our influences are things that we do, it's fundamentally sound. You understand? But for those of you who just criticize us, not knowing us, then when we're meant to get our plaudits, you're there upon this thing like, yeah, right? But now you get to hear something, and what's happened here, racism, the ugly face of it, pops up because Abdullah is not African. He's not, well, he's African, but he's not black. You understand? And a lot of these people don't even associate themselves or consider themselves as Africans. But that's another conversation. You understand? But he's taken that culture recognition and realization from us and used it. Same can let others know what is actually happening to his people. And use media. That's what recording is. That's what sound is. Huh? And he's taking a form that we know is rap. But you see, they put that acoustics and those cymbals in there, he flows on it. His lyrical content is not a song. It's the reality of a protest situation that he's encountered living within that space. So it's not some form of lyrical genre that's been orchestrated to meet Billboard, blah, blah. No, it's reality. But taking the flow from us, that makes it rhyme, synchronized. And then we put the acoustics inside there, the cymbals, and get him to understand how to flow with those cymbals, and then tweak some of his punchline, and that's it. Production. Now it's down to him to set that up. We set it up. It's up to him now to what we call flow. Now, he don't know nothing about no flow. It's us again. Doing what? Waxing him. Inspiring him. Grooming him. Not brainwashing, Waxing, inspiring first, wax him, and then brooming him. Because by the time he make 2, 3, 4, 5, even 12 takes, we say, you're getting there, and patience works. And I've been told that many of the time when the production team said, listen, we can make this work, and then cut it here, cut it there, mix it there, and he goes, no, I'm gonna get this. Right? And he just rolled out. Because it's real. That's what happens, man. This is what youth and youth can do. And this is why reggae now has been attacked. Because, well, not reggae, but the reggae artists. Well, yeah, reggae. Because it's the only protest voice that remains in the world, and it has always been the only one, but now they don't want it. They want to try and violate it. So Abdullah, we're with you, man. We're with you and with your people, them. You understand? And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspire you to more, and transform lives. Abdullah.
Palestine's been occupied for decades, but a home for centuries. This land is generations of my family's memories. To plant, grow, and nurture the symbol of peace. The olive trees guaranteed that our people could eat. Living with limitations, pushed down by the occupation. Wanna see the pain? Take a look at the people's faces. Imagine being kicked out of the only house you ever known. We're praying for our souls while they're praying on our homes. It's not easy to put this into words. Looking at my baby sister, is this something she deserves? Growing up in a world where she's not treated the same, denied the right to live free because of where she came. They wanna occupy this land, won't let them occupy my mind. I stay occupied aside as I write about my life, because my only mission is to make people listen. This one's for Sheikh Jarrah, hoping it can make a difference. Cause the same thing happened in 48. My grandparents got evicted and forced to move away to the refugee camp in Gaza. No, nothing has changed. They can never return, so that's where I am today. Getting calls from cousins to see if I am alive. This year is not fireworks that are lighting the sky. We're trying to celebrate an Eid and keep the faith. I guess you could say it's how memories are made. Palestine.
Yes, so we want to say to you all, Assalamu alaikum. And those of you who do critical analysis, check what you read. check what you read, and do your own critical analysis of what you read. But before you even critic, be curious. Be curious and genuine. And then you can reflect and look at self and see if there's a worth there. Because too much people have envy. They're not morally courageous. They're not. They don't even define morality. They're trying to propagate a truth that's already been spoken, a truth that's already been illustrated, a truth that's already been lived. But how to bring that truth into today's reality is where they are lacking. They are lacking. So a person who's reflective and a person who seems to or want to expand the excellence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants for human beings, for mankind, should not just live it. Their ever action should be on that, because that's what they're deemed to do. That's what their cloth is cut for. But a person who tries to make believe and make or do something knowing that other people are believing or shedding light on them, looking for aspiration from them, and realizing that this is what's happening, that's a person that's socially oppressing people's mentality. And it has a lot of wrong connotations to a person's soul. Because we have expectations. We have expectations. All human beings, we have expectations. This is why the world talks about religious fanatics. Because the persons feel that once they're in tune, or they can get in tune to God, to Allah, they're impregnable. That anything they want, they will get, and everything will just be all right for them without exercising it much. It's based on, I know. What is it that they know? It's what we need to know. And what we need to know is not something that we just stay there with and say, yeah, I've read that. We need to enact that which we think we know, or we're trying to know about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never forsakes anyone. He can't. So if we're striving for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure, we be seeking excellence in life. So when the whisperers of mythology comes on the scene, it wouldn't have no impact. It's just wind. No one can't tell us where the wind comes from and where it goes. So why go after something that's vain and fantasy? My reality is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because I seek to get close and understand what it is that's required of me as a living organ, living body. And learn how to give thanks and be appreciative with every little thing. You see that part? Little thing. That I've been awarded. But do not forget to seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy and forgiveness. Simple as. But there's those who have a different marker and not realizing that they're socially oppressing people's souls. Yeah. Now I see morality. Morality is a serious topic. It encourages people not to fester in envy and disruptive criticism and analytical and unnecessary analytical dogma. We're in a world of so much academias. We're in a world with trickified people. But the world that we need to be in and representing is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's world. And how can we be in that world? Submit. See? You see that? So it's sensible. Submit. And submit is not just saying something. And it's not just believe in something. Not just, believe in something. It's applying. You understand? So every man, every woman, everybody has that potential. No one cannot engineer it for them. They can inspire them. They can holistically motivate because them themselves are on the same crest. And that's the ummah of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's it. Why were people sitting, watching him and listening to him? Because they wanted to learn how to be that close to Allah. They wanted to learn because they accept that there's a relationship. I'm using that word. There's a connection between the Prophet and God. So they weren't envious of him, but they want to learn of his qualities so they can be appreciated by Allah. That's it. So we got good teachers. Those good teachers should do likewise. And we're in this life. We're living this. They cannot be mentally hermits. No. Project the word living. And don't tell us one thing and you can't do that thing, because the Prophet exchanged, had a full life. It wasn't a mosque guy, even though he was in the mosque. He's a working man. He was a civil man. He was a servant to many. You get the message? A nation that prides itself, it was in Sudan, on the Quran, should not have been in a war for 20-something years and should not be graveling with Western influence and doing Western bidding and killing and uprooting so much people right now. And it's not that the people, the population is dumb. They're not dumbfounded. They're very intellectual people. So instead of trying to exemplify it and build up other things, my mother always told me, start with yourself and start with your home. And until such time, you can't go out there. And what did the Prophet do? Didn't he build what was around him? Come on. Such education. It's not even education. Fundamental principles, man. He only fled from Mecca to Medina because of affliction and persecution. But that was never an intention not to go back. There was never an intention not to go back. The intention was once we go there, I can develop myself and look at my surroundings, and take heed of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me, because If you're just thinking about how to make ends meet with who don't like you, then is that what Allah sent you for? No, He didn't send him to be no bully. He didn't send him to be no fighter. He sent him to raise the consciousness and the morality of the human beings, a light unto this earth. So he understood. Not he'd be militarily endowed, gone over there, gone in the ring, training himself, build up some muscles, get a big set of people and say, yo, listen here, we're going back home and we're going to bust those guys' heads and crack them. And no, that wasn't it. Medina wasn't used for that. Medina was used to switch the light on more and more. And the light rays start beaming. And unexpected people were listening. Where did Khalid bin Walid come from? And others, too much to mention, I don't know all their names. They're in Arabic. I do know, but I can't pronounce them. No, and I don't know. I'm aware of. Qualify the nonsense. Seriously. And women, which has not been spoken about a lot. The first pioneers, not the first martyrs, and teachers. What are they teaching about morality? How to live, how to behave, how to exchange. Because when the message, the full message come, you need to be equipped on handling that. You just don't get it. So all this Saudi thing and so forth, it's away from the scene. It's massage, man. It's massaging. It's massage. You think a person can just sit there with a massage all day, all week? No. He goes to the massage to get rid of some of the tenseness and so forth. And if they're sensible, then they would apply the massage to themselves, like I do know to do. And all my basketball players, they all train how to massage themselves. Yeah, we got two hands, man. Arms, make use of them. Simple. And if you got a good partner, good friend, someone who cares about you and everything, the areas that you can't reach, they will reach for you while you're reaching theirs. Right? Vice versa. It's a good exchange. It's called shared appreciation. And morality is the key. So we don't have no people over there flashing all kinds of nonsense and talking all kind of foolishness and so forth. No. So the way the Prophet built Medina is not what is being projected to this earth. And with all the money and everything else, it's not. The relationship is being wanting. The Gulf War, Desert Storm, everything's been wanting. Saddam doing this and that body doing this and this one is doing that and this regime is being backed up by this body and so forth, right? There's nothing about the Prophet. There's no sunnah there. There's none. It's theatrics. Now, how could you get the children and the grandchildren of such people leading the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you people out there that call yourselves Muslims and scholars and muftis and sheikhs and everybody can justify this nonsense? Come on, man. Let's be sensible, please. Let's be sensible. Let's be sensible. Stop treating people like we're all dumb and the world is having a laugh at our expense. And they're not laughing. It is that our children are dying. Our women is dying. They're all dying. Because we didn't do anything that was right and proper. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahmanir Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin إياك إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين.
Oh, there's one thing I want to say, This language called this Quranic Fusa Arabic, when it's being read by whoever, if you all realize how people who don't know what these people are saying, but based on the fact that this Arabic, this Fusa Arabic, has got such tones. And hey, listen, I shouldn't even say all that. It touches people who are not Muslims. They so somehow switches on somewhere. It makes people cry. And then you ask them, why are you crying? And they just say things like, I'm sorry. And I said, no, don't say you're sorry. Sorry for what? But why? And they just said, it's so beautiful. And this is Islam. It's nothing to do with some hadiths over there and some stories over there. This is Allah. But you know, some of the most beautiful voices and some of the worst racial propaganda, racist propaganda, is that we're not featured when we're there. But we're not featured because we are being undermined and undervalued, even though we're Muslims. All features seem to be damaging if a Habashi, he or she, or our children, is involved. Huh? You understand? It's diabolical. And yet still, we want to be asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, really, with the kindness of ourselves and our needs, to suffice us when we're not responding the way in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told the Prophet to teach us how to respond. I mean, come on, man. Let us be real. Let us be real. That's how the alleged Christian people behave. This is Islam. This is no one should be behaving like that. No one should be behaving like that. Islam is the truth. Once it is being applied or being let out, right? Not even applied, let out. Just let it go. And those of us who get the opportunity to say something about it, be honest and be sincere. Don't Jim Screech around the corner and glossify something just to make yourself have some importance. We're all going to die. So my importance of glossing something for people to acknowledge me in my grave, listen here, I'm in agony. You're going to say, have you been there to know that? Okay, let's wait and see. So, my brothers and sisters, and those of you who are saying, he just put black. I said, no, we're not black. We're Africans. We're human beings. Hey, boy. Come here.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
So we want to go away with the fiqh. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. After this, we abruptly will be gone. The next time up, I would read the whole of this, do the translation. Assalamu alaikum.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين.